Hey guys, how's it going? I made a video today and I deleted it. So my first instinct was I was mad, but then I said I'm gonna do a live one. And since I did a nice video with cleaning a dial on a watch and restoring a watch, and it was a really good video. And somehow it got deleted. I'm still new at this. I suck at editing, and I will get better. I promise you guys. I will get better eventually. So I'm doing a live today, and I'm saying, who am I? Why am I talking about watches? Who is this guy coming on board? So just want to talk a little bit about myself right now. And that's what people do a lot. They talk about themselves. I hate to talk about myself, but just explain where my background comes from, how I know about watches, and maybe give a little bit of credibility to my channel. So, guys, I grew up in this business. I grew up in the business. I've been dealing watches for better part of 20 years now, but my dad, he had a store in the back in the 80s here in Chicago at 5 South, and anybody that knows Chicago and knows jewelry, they're gonna know where 5 South Wabash is. So that's where I grew up. That's where I come from. I've been dealing and with watches, jewelry for a long time now, and I decided to do this channel because there's a lot of dealers. There's a lot of dealers on eBay. There's a lot of dealers on YouTube now, and they're just pushing their product. They're pushing their sales. They're pushing their watches, and if they get a nice new watch, a used vintage watch that they want to push online, they're gonna push it on their channel, and there's nothing wrong with it. But where I take offense to it, it's when they're trying to sell a $5,000 watch that in reality is worth $3,000. But since they gained your trust through YouTube, they feel the need to overprice those watches. So that's one of the reasons I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a lot of research, how to where to find watches, how to find watches, and how to get really good deals on them. Number two, I'm going to be doing a lot of how-to videos. So I've been working on watches for a while now, and before I was taking my watches to Watchmen, and it got expensive after a while. Got expensive, so me being around the watch business most of my life, I just decided to open one up. And this happened, guys. This happened like about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that I decided to open one up and start fiddling with it. And after a while, I learned how to work on my own watches. I rarely do customer watches, but I've learned how to work on watches. I've learned how to do basic cleaning and do most of my work. Most of my work is done by me. If it's something that needs to be made, like a new part, if that needs to be made, then I will go to where I live in downtown Chicago. I'll go to a watchmaker there that's totally set up to do it, and I'll have them make the parts, or have them make something that a special needs part that that I'm not equipped to do. So that's a little bit background on me. Um, I hope I could help you guys. I hope I could help you guys in any way, to find that next Grail watch, and that's a new word, Grail watch. Whoever heard about Grail watches before, you know? And for me, a Grail watch, it doesn't exist. The hunt exists. Once I get to a watch that I thought was my Grail, that I thought was what I wanted, that I've always wanted. Once I have it, I'll get bored of it. If there's no emotion to that watch, even though it's a Grail watch, I'm getting rid of it. I'm getting rid of it, and I'm going to the next one. And if you're starting your watch collection, I bet you're going to be the same way. You're going to think you have a Grail watch, but you're going to hunt for it. That's going to be the good part about finding, about the watches, the hunting for it. Once you get it, after a year, after 2 years, it's going to stop being a Grail watch. So you're going to go to the next one. Something new is going to come along. Something new, something better, something more exciting. And that's the watch world. That's the watch world. There's always going to be something more excited. I'm I want to say most of the majority of my collection is vintage. I like vintage. I like to stay in vintage, and I do have a few new pieces, but there's nothing. They're nothing that excites me. You know, my keepers. They're not even grills. Just my keepers because they have some sort of emotional attachment to it. My keepers. They're they're simple watches. I could tell you right now, as far as my keepers, I have a Rolex with a bark bezel. That's a keeper. I have a Sheffield with a Panda dial. That's a keeper, and Audemars. That's a keeper too. So I have a few, but they're not my grill watches. You know, they're just keeper watches that that I have some type of emotion towards them. You know, you'll if you're new to collecting, you will get emotional watches, and then you're going to get grill watches, and then you're going to get investment watches. You know, those are the ones you got to be careful. Your investment watches, you know, and there's there there's a lot of good pieces right now that you could invest your money in, and probably make a profit on them. You know, you could surf eBay. You could even flip eBay. You know, there's a lot of decent watches out there that that are worth, you know, jumping into, holding them for, I don't know, better part of a year, 2 years, and you know, see where their popularity goes. You know, and like I said on a previous video, we we cannot root for the Cubs once the Cubs won the World Series. You know, um, it's like we cannot root for Rolex Daytona now that it's the Daytona, now that it's the big thing that it is. Let's try to find that next big watch. Let's let's try to discover what it is. That's part of the game. You know, trying to figure out what that big watch is. You know, trying to figure out where is it coming from. Is it going to be a growing Curvex? I don't know. Is it going to be a Movado Day Date? Who knows? You know, who knows what the next big thing is? But the good part about watch collecting, there's so many. There's so the variety is so vast out there that you know, we could try to collect something that that will become big tomorrow. You know, that's the good part about watch collecting. Trying to collect something and trying to play the guessing game. You know, trying to play the guessing game of what's going to be big tomorrow. Just to give you an example, back in the '80s, you know, and yeah, early '80s, when my dad used to have a store in downtown Chicago, but he also used to do flea markets all the time, and we would sell the Rolex Daytonas with the or Submariners together with the Seikos. And there were no value to. I mean, there was value to them, but if it wasn't a pocket watch for that type for that era, it wasn't collectible. If I were to tell, if my dad was alive and I were to tell him that there's going to be a $6,000 Seiko one day, he'd die again. You know, he would never believe back in the '80s that there was going to be an $8,000 Seiko or $5,000 Seiko. If I were to tell him that that Submariner was going to like a Redline Submariner was going to bring record high numbers, he would never believe me. You know, he always told me, stick with pocket watches. Pocket watches is what, and I know nothing about pocket watches. I mean, I'm, you know, zero in pocket watches. I have one or two, I think, and I think if you look back, I have two in, right there in, as wall art, but I know nothing about pocket watches. And so what I'm saying is, back in the '80s, my dad was dealing so many Daytonas, Submariners. A Datejust and a Submariner were about the same price. They were like about $250 to $350 a piece. So who would have thought? You know, so as collectors, that's our job. Figure out what's coming up next. You know, we figure it out, and it's like playing the lottery. If we hit it, we hit it. If not, we just had a whole lot of fun doing it. You know, So guys, I wanted to make this live video to make up for the video I lost. Hope you guys enjoy it. Subscribe. Um, I'm hoping to grow this channel. I'm gonna get much better in editing. I'm gonna get much better in content, and I'm gonna get a little bit better in scripting what I want to say. You know. So, but like I say, I've never liked to edit. I've always wanted to be like, you know, a bunch of guys just drinking coffee and talking about watches. So that's what I've always wanted my channel to be like. So, you know, we'll see where this takes us. And like I say, guys, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and follow me on Instagram. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.